Hey Reddit, throwaway for obvious reasons. This is one of the hardest things I've ever written, but I need to get it out. I've been married to my wife, Emily, for 6 years, together for 10. We met in college. She was the bubbly extrovert who lit up every room. I was the quiet guy who couldn't believe she noticed me. And for a long time, I really thought I was the luckiest guy alive. We built a life together, a modest house in the suburbs, two dogs, no kids yet, though we were trying off and on, and what I thought was a stable, loving marriage. Sure, we argued sometimes, mostly about how much she was on her phone or how distant she seemed lately, but nothing that felt like a red flag at first. I chalked it up to stress or maybe a rough patch. Looking back, I can see the signs were there. They just weren't neon bright until it was too late. It started with her going out more. At first, it was girls' nights or work drinks that ran late. Then there were more showers before leaving the house, new clothes she never asked my opinion on, and a constant need to reconnect with herself. She'd laugh when I asked questions or roll her eyes. "You're being paranoid," she'd say. "Why can't I have my own life?" I didn't want to be the controlling husband. I didn't want to accuse her of something without proof. But something inside me, some instinct, started whispering that things weren't adding up. I should have listened to that voice a lot sooner. So, like I said, things started getting weird. Emily had always been kind of glued to her phone, but now it was secretive. Secretive. She used to scroll Instagram next to me on the couch, laughing at memes or showing me stuff. But lately, the screen always faced down. If a notification popped up, she'd grab it like it was on fire. I mentioned it one night, just casually, like, "Hey, you've been on your phone a lot. Everything okay?" She barely looked up and said, "God, do I need to check in with you every time I get a text now?" That stung. I wasn't trying to control her. I felt like a stranger in my own marriage. The real red flag came 2 weeks later. We were supposed to go to her parents' house for dinner, and she accidentally left her phone charging in the kitchen while she was upstairs getting ready. I didn't plan to snoop. Seriously, I didn't. But then it lit up. A preview of a text message. "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was..." My stomach dropped. My heart started pounding so hard, I swear I heard it. The message was from someone named L. That's it. Just the letter. She had him saved as a freaking initial. Who even does that? I didn't open the phone. I didn't know the passcode. She'd changed it a few months back and claimed it was for work privacy. That phrase meant nothing to me anymore. When she came back downstairs, I acted normal. I handed her the phone and watched her face. She didn't flinch, just said thanks and tucked it in her purse like nothing happened. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next day, I started paying more attention, and I started keeping notes. I wish I could say that was the last shady thing I saw, but it was just the beginning. After that text, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Who the hell was L? My brain went into overdrive. Was it someone from work? Someone she met at yoga? A friend I'd been introduced to and never suspected? So, yeah, I started doing what I swore I'd never do in a relationship. I started spying. Not proud of it, but I was losing my mind trying to pretend everything was fine. I remembered her laptop had the same Apple ID as her phone, and sometimes iMessages showed up there. She'd logged out a while ago, said it was too distracting, but the history hadn't been wiped. And sure enough, I found some messages. Not many, but enough. One stood out. "Wish I could spend the whole weekend with you. Hate sneaking around. You smell like heaven." My heart just cracked. I sat there staring at the screen like it might disappear. I didn't want it to be real. I wanted there to be some stupid, rational explanation. But it wasn't just flirting. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was an affair. I scrolled up, saw a name, Landon, a few heart emojis, a hotel address, and a photo of her in my hoodie, clearly taken in a mirror I didn't recognize. That broke me in a weird, specific way. She was cheating in my clothes. I took screenshots. I wasn't even sure why yet, but I needed to hold on to something real, something undeniable. Because deep down, I already knew what was coming. She was going to lie, and I needed to be ready. All right, buckle up because this part still messes me up. After finding those messages, I waited a day. I needed to breathe, to plan, to stop shaking. I rehearsed what I was going to say 100 times in my head. I wanted answers, not a screaming match. I wanted her to tell me the truth. Stupid, I know. So I asked her to sit down after dinner. She was scrolling on her phone, of course, and I just said, "We need to talk." Seriously, she looked up all annoyed. "What now?" I told her I knew, that I saw the messages, that I knew about Landon, that I saw the hotel address and the photo. And you know what she did? She laughed. She actually laughed. Then she said, "Are you serious right now? You went through my messages? Jesus, you're acting crazy. That's a violation of privacy." I was stunned. Like, she wasn't even denying it. She was flipping it on me. Classic gaslighting. I said, "I saw the texts, the picture, the hotel. Just tell me the truth." She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might fall out of her head. "It was nothing, okay? Just texting. Some harmless flirting. You've been so boring lately. It's not like I slept with him. Bull. Shit." I told her I saw the part about last night and can't wait to see you again. I told her to stop lying. And then she exploded. "You never make me feel wanted anymore. You don't even notice me. You think bringing home takeout and walking the dogs makes you a good husband? Landon actually talks to me. He listens. He makes me feel alive." I just sat there staring, like, wow, that was it. She was cheating. And in her mind, it was my fault. She stormed upstairs and slammed the door, muttering something about how she couldn't deal with my emotional manipulation right now. I slept on the couch. I didn't cry. Not yet. That came later. The next morning felt like waking up in someone else's life. I barely slept, just laid there staring at the ceiling in the dark, wondering how we got here. She didn't come downstairs. No good morning, no apology, not even a fake excuse. Just silence. Around noon, she finally emerged, fully dressed, makeup on, acting like nothing happened. She grabbed her keys and said, "I'm going out. I need space." Space. Classic. I asked, "Are you going to see him?" She paused at the door and turned to me like I'd just insulted her mother. "Wow. Really? I can't believe you're still acting like this. You're suffocating me." Then she left. That was the moment it hit me. She didn't feel guilty. She didn't even try to hide it anymore. In fact, she was blaming me for her cheating like I'd driven her into someone else's arms. The sheer audacity of it all left me numb. The next few days were a blur. She stayed out more. Wouldn't say where she was going. I stopped asking. I just stopped. I went to work, walked the dogs, came home to a cold house with a stranger in it. We barely spoke. When we did, it turned into her accusing me of being dramatic, controlling, paranoid, or obsessed with playing the victim. Meanwhile, I was still trying to hold it together, still making dinner, still doing the laundry, still sleeping on the couch. I think I was in denial. Like maybe this was some kind of midlife crisis. Maybe she'd snap out of it. Maybe the person I married was still in there, buried under all the resentment and lies. But then I found the receipt. One night while cleaning, I was tossing out some junk mail from the dining table when I noticed a folded piece of paper. Hotel receipt. 2 nights, King Suite, paid in cash, and the check-in date. The same night, she told me she was meeting her friend Sasha for drinks and staying at her place. I sat down and just stared at it. She lied to my face. Again. Easily. Effortlessly. It wasn't a one-time thing. It wasn't just texting. This was planned, repeated, hidden. And I realized something else, something worse. She never planned on stopping. I wish I could say I handled things with dignity and strength after finding that hotel receipt. I didn't. I broke. Not in a dramatic throw a chair kind of way, just emotionally, quietly, utterly. I sat on the edge of the bed and cried like I hadn't cried since my dad died. That kind of cry where your whole body shakes and your throat tightens and no sound comes out at first. I didn't even know I was holding that much pain. But once it started, I couldn't stop. I felt like I was grieving a death, except the person wasn't dead. She was just gone. This woman I'd built a life with, spent holidays with, talked about having kids with, shared inside jokes, lazy Sundays, dog walks, burnt pancakes, late night movies. That woman didn't exist anymore. She'd been replaced by someone cold. Someone who could look me in the eye and lie, go have sex with another man, and come home like it was nothing. Someone who didn't even care that she'd ripped my heart out. I didn't eat for a couple days. I called in sick to work and just sat on the back porch in silence, staring at the trees, wondering how long she'd been slipping away while I thought we were fine. She came home one night and found me sitting there. She didn't ask if I was okay. She didn't apologize. She didn't cry. She just sighed and said, "We really need to stop dragging this out. Neither of us is happy." I looked at her and said, "Did you ever love me, or was it always like this?" She shrugged and said, "I don't know. I think we wanted it to work, but we're just not right for each other anymore." Then she walked inside and turned on the TV, like nothing happened, like my world hadn't just shattered. That night, I packed a bag. Nothing dramatic, just the essentials. A couple changes of clothes, my toothbrush, laptop, the dog's favorite toy, he came with me, and the hotel receipt. Not sure why I brought that last one. Maybe as a reminder to never forget. I didn't slam any doors. I didn't leave a note. I just left. Drove to a cheap extended stay motel 20 minutes away. The kind of place with outdated carpet and a weird lemony chemical smell in the halls, but it was quiet, and no one there had cheated on me, so it already felt better than home. I turned off my phone. Just needed peace. Not her texts. Not her guilt tripping. Not the fake apologies or passive aggressive silence. For the first time in weeks, I slept through the night. The next morning, I turned it back on to check messages. 5 missed calls, 2 voicemails, and a wall of texts from her. Wow, really mature, just walking out. You can't just take the dog without asking. So you're just running away now? I knew you'd try to play the victim. And the kicker, I didn't even do anything that bad. I laughed out loud in the middle of the motel room. A short, bitter laugh. Not because it was funny, but because it was so insane that I didn't know what else to do. That was the moment I realized she wasn't sorry. She didn't regret it. She didn't think she did anything wrong. I had been trying to save something she'd already burned to the ground and pissed on. So I called my brother and told him everything. I asked if I could crash at his place for a while. He said yes without hesitation. He was furious, honestly. Said he always thought she was a bit too smug, but never wanted to say anything. Typical older brother move. Wait until it all blows up before chiming in. Still, it felt good to have someone on my side again. I didn't tell her where I was going. I didn't tell her I was filing for separation either. Not yet, but I was done pretending. After I moved into my brother's spare room, the dominoes started falling fast. People started asking questions, mutual friends, coworkers, even my mom. Everyone had noticed something was off lately, and now I finally had the words to explain it. I told them the truth. No sugarcoating, no dramatics, just facts. She cheated, multiple times, lied to my face, blamed me I left. Some were shocked, some weren't. And here's the thing I didn't expect. People started picking sides. My mom cried when I told her. She kept saying, "I always thought she was distant with you, but I never wanted to interfere." She hugged me like I was still 10 years old and scraped my knee. My dad, on the other hand, just grunted and said, "Well, you tried." She didn't. That's all there is to it. My best friend, who had always been polite but reserved around her, straight up said, "Man, I never liked her." There, I said it. She always looked down on you like she settled or something. And it hit me. She had been that way the whole time, and I had either ignored it or explained it away. Then mutual friends started reaching out, and this is where it got messy. 2 couples, people we used to hang out with all the time, said they wanted to stay neutral. Translation: we know she's wrong, but we're scared to upset her. One guy, Mark, actually had the balls to text me, "Hey man, sorry things are rough, but we're still inviting her to the lake trip, just so you know." That stung. I guess some people value convenience over character, but others stood by me, reached out, invited me over, checked in. One even brought me a 6-pack and said, "You don't have to talk if you don't want to, just hang out." That meant more than he knew. Meanwhile, she was spinning her own version, posting vague quotes on Instagram like, "Sometimes people change and that's okay," and "You can't heal in the same environment that broke you. Give me a break." One of her own friends DM'd me and said, "I didn't believe her when she said you were emotionally abusive. She's been acting weird for months. I'm sorry." Um, so yeah, the truth got out. People started seeing her for who she really was. And slowly, for the first time in weeks, I started seeing myself again too. It was a Tuesday when I walked into the lawyer's office. Cold outside, raining lightly. One of those days where even the sky looks like it gave up. I hadn't planned on doing it that day, but after another sleepless night and seeing yet another post from her on social media about finally choosing peace, I snapped. I was done being the only one hurting, the only one stuck. The lawyer was this calm, no nonsense woman in her 40s. She listened without flinching as I laid it all out. 10 years together, 5 married, no kids, but a shared mortgage, 2 dogs, and 1,000 little strings tying us together. I told her everything about the affair, the lies, the gaslighting. She nodded like she'd heard it all before. And maybe she had, but the way she looked at me, serious, not pitying, made me feel like I wasn't crazy for once. She said, "You've already left emotionally. Filing just makes it official." So I signed the papers. I still remember how my hand shook. Signing your name to end a life you built with someone, it feels like you're erasing a part of your own story, but also like you're finally picking up the pen for a new chapter. When I got back to my brother's place, I felt weirdly light. Not happy exactly, but of course, that didn't last long, because when she got served 2 days later, all hell broke loose. She blew up my phone, called and texted nonstop, left voicemails screaming about how I blindsided her, how I was embarrassing her, how I didn't even try to fix it. I didn't respond. Then came the classic manipulations. "Can't we talk? You're really going to throw everything away? You're hurting me too, you know?" Unreal. "You sleep with another man in hotel rooms, and I'm the bad guy for filing?" She even messaged my mom. My mom! Asking her to convince me to slow down and think this through. My mom told her he has thought it through. That was the last straw for her, I think. She stopped pretending after that. No more fake apologies, no more let's talk. Just cold, bitter silence, like I was the villain in her twisted little movie. But I didn't care anymore. The papers were in. I had a plan, and for the first time in months, I could see a life after her. Just when I thought I had the full picture, she slipped up. A week after filing, I got a message from a guy I didn't recognize. Instagram. It said, "Hey man, sorry if this is weird. I think we should talk. I've been seeing your wife, or I was until yesterday." I stared at the screen for a long minute, half expecting it to be a prank or scam, but curiosity and maybe spite got the better of me. I replied, "Turns out this guy, let's call him Brandon, was one of her side flings, but not the guy from the hotel receipt. Nope, a different one. He said he met her on Bumble 5 months ago. She told him she was separated, said I was controlling and distant, and wouldn't sign the papers. I felt my stomach turn. That was 2 months before I even suspected anything. She told him she was single but legally entangled, and even had the audacity to ask him to be patient while she untangled it. He found out the truth after seeing a mutual friend tag both of us in an old group photo. He clicked my name, scrolled, and saw the wedding pics. The house. The anniversary post from last year. He said he felt sick. Cut her off immediately. To his credit, Brandon seemed genuinely embarrassed and apologized multiple times. Said he thought I deserved to know and that I should protect myself. She's not done lying. I thanked him, and honestly, I believed him. He was just another pawn in her game, same as me. But hearing it, it hit me like a second wave of betrayal. She hadn't just cheated. She'd been building a new life on top of the old one, like a damn Jenga tower. One wrong move, and it was always going to collapse. I thought I was getting closure. But instead, I got more rot, more filth, more lies. I didn't even confront her this time. What was the point? I was done handing her opportunities to twist the knife. I just sent the info to my lawyer, logged off Instagram, and took the dog for a walk. The sky was clear for once, and I realized I didn't miss her voice. Not one bit. After that last message from Brandon, something in me shifted, like I'd finally run out of illusions to shatter. No more, maybe I should have done more. No more, what if we had gone to counseling? No more, I miss who she used to be. She was never that person. Or maybe she was, but not for me, not with me. So I started taking back what was mine. Not just in the literal sense, though, yeah, I definitely told my lawyer to make sure I got my half of the house, but mentally, emotionally. First step, I deleted every photo of us on my phone. Gone. Not one by one either. I searched her name, selected all, and hit delete. Second, I made a new playlist, all songs that reminded me of me, not us. No sad breakup ballads, just stuff that made me feel alive again. Angry, hopeful, stubborn, human. Third, I went back to the gym. Not out of revenge, not to get a revenge body, or whatever, but because I wanted to sweat something out. All that bitterness, that grief. Lifting weights felt like reclaiming power. Every rep said, "You're not broken, you're just rebuilding." Then I did something I never expected. I booked a solo trip, just a weekend, a cabin by a lake, 2 hours out of town, no Wi Fi, just trees, silence, and my own thoughts. And you know what? The first night was hard. The bed was cold. The silence was loud. I kept instinctively reaching for my phone to check if she had texted. She hadn't. Good. By the second night, I was breathing deeper. I made a fire. I read a book. I fell asleep without replaying the betrayal over and over in my head. For the first time in what felt like forever, I was just me. Not a husband, not a victim, not a detective trying to catch a liar, just a man in a cabin, surrounded by peace and slowly remembering what it felt like to not be hurt. It happened 3 weeks after I filed for divorce. I was at work going through emails when my phone buzzed. It was her. The preview just read, "I owe you an apology. Please read this." For a second, my hand hovered over the screen. My heart didn't race. My stomach didn't drop. It was just blank curiosity. I opened it. Here's the gist of what she wrote. I won't share the whole thing. She doesn't get that much space in my story anymore. She said she was sorry for how things ended, not what she did. Claimed she didn't know how unhappy she was until she started seeing someone else. Said I was a good man, but she needed to find herself. Added that I probably won't believe this, but she never stopped loving me. And then the kicker. I hope someday we can be friends. Friends, after lying to my face, after gaslighting me into thinking I was paranoid, after using me like a doormat while she entertained a lineup of Plan Bs. I didn't reply, not because I didn't have things to say. Oh, I had plenty, but because silence, that's the only real message someone like her understands. She thrives on control, on reactions, on pulling emotional strings. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction. So I archived the message, blocked her number, and walked to the break room like nothing happened. And you know what? I felt good, powerful even. Because the old me, the husband who made excuses for her, who begged her to talk, who thought maybe he was the problem, he might have answered. He might have even felt a flicker of hope. But that guy, he doesn't live here anymore. There's this moment no one tells you about when you're going through betrayal. It's not when you discover the lie. It's not when you confront them. It's not even when you walk away. It's later, when the dust settles, when everything's quiet, when you finally understand you're not just grieving them, you're grieving the life you thought you had, the version of your story that never actually existed. That's what hit me the hardest. The memories, they're still there, but they feel fake now. Like I'm watching a movie with a twist ending, and suddenly I realize I missed all the signs. That beach trip where she said, "I've never felt closer to you." She was texting someone else while I ordered breakfast. The time she came home late and said her coworkers were celebrating a promotion, she was at his place. I wasn't just betrayed. I was edited out of my own damn story. And yet, here's what surprised me most. There's a kind of peace that comes from acceptance, not forgiveness, not forgetting, just letting go. I stopped trying to rewrite the past in my head, stopped asking why on loop like it would magically make sense, stopped imagining closure that would never come. Instead, I started building new memories. I rearranged the furniture in the apartment, got rid of the couch she picked out, bought a new set of dishes, just mine. I threw away the wedding album, not out of spite. It just didn't feel real anymore. I told my friends I was ready to start going out again, not to meet anyone, just to be alive, to laugh, to exist outside of the shadow she left. And slowly, I started to feel like myself again, not a version of me molded by someone else's expectations. Just me, flawed, healing, still angry sometimes, but standing on my own 2 feet. I let go of the fantasy, and in doing so, I made space for something real. You know what healing doesn't look like? A movie montage. It's not this perfect upward climb with inspirational music and a soft smile at the end. It's messy. It's stupid sometimes. It's standing in the grocery store and realizing you don't know what kind of cereal you actually like because she always picked it. It's going to sleep with the TV on just so the silence doesn't remind you that you're alone now. But it's also progress. Healing looked like me waking up one day and realizing I hadn't thought about her in a while. It looked like going for a run and not needing music to drown out my thoughts. It looked like laughing, really laughing, with a friend over something dumb and realizing I meant it. It looked like deleting our shared Spotify playlist without a second thought. It looked like choosing my own coffee table, cooking my own meals, making decisions that only had to serve me and not someone else's chaos. I won't lie, there are still bad days. Sometimes I still feel the phantom of what used to be. Sometimes I get flashes of that betrayal and my jaw still clenches, but those moments are fewer. They don't define me anymore. I stopped seeing myself as the guy who got cheated on. Now I'm just a guy who survived that. A guy who lived through being lied to, manipulated, discarded, and came out stronger. Not bitter, not broken, just free. I finally see a future again, and she's not in it. If you've made it this far, first of all, thank you. I never thought I'd be the guy typing his life out to strangers on Reddit, but this has been more therapeutic than I ever expected. And if you're someone who's going through something similar right now, if you're sitting there questioning your sanity, rereading messages, second guessing yourself while they look you in the eye and lie to your face, let me tell you something. It's not your fault. Read that again. They cheated because of them, not you. Their lack of integrity, their emptiness, their need for validation, their inability to face discomfort like an adult, that's on them. You didn't miss something. You didn't push them away. You loved them. You showed up. You trusted, and they broke it. And you know what? That pain you feel right now, it won't last forever. It'll hurt. It'll wreck you. But then one day you'll breathe again. And then one day after that, you'll laugh again. And eventually you'll realize you weren't destroyed. You were set free. Free from the lies, free from the manipulation, free from a relationship that only worked because you were doing all the emotional heavy lifting. So here's my advice. If you're in the thick of it, don't beg them to stay. If they can cheat, they already left you emotionally. Don't seek closure from them. The truth won't come from someone who built their comfort on your confusion. Do everything you can to rediscover yourself, even the small things, especially the small things. Find your people, even if it's Reddit strangers. You need support. And never, never forget your worth. Because now that I'm on the other side of this, I don't miss her. I miss who I thought she was, but I love who I've become. And that's worth everything. Thanks for reading. A guy who finally found peace.